an institution. It's an institution. So I always like to use the analogy of Navy is like it's a ship. Navy is a ship. So I'm just the captain of the ship, right? So the Navy, the ship, obviously need to move and proceed to a journey. So there's no one destination. It is ongoing, something as a path. Now, and going along this passage, we call it passage. Obviously, you being nautical about it, there are always challenges. There's no what you call straight passage that is safe. There are a lot of obstacles, there are a lot of challenges along the way. Challenges with respect to weather, challenges with respect to the shallow waters, challenges with respect to what you're going to face, threats along the way, right? So, as a captain with the ship, I cannot move. I need the crew. So the crew is actually the most important asset that any Navy or any institution would have. So this is the Navy people, right? So the Navy people is the most important asset. So in the Navy, as I mentioned just now, the captain can change as you go along over time. But most importantly, the responsibility of the captain is to ensure that the crew, in this case the Navy people, work as a team. Right? Work to a team to ensure that the ship can sail to this passage path and through all passing through those challenges. So what's new when you ask me just now, one is that this passage is an ongoing thing. It is already being charted. The passage is being charted. We've got our plan. We call it plan strategy, or the Navy Strategic Plan 1320. Right, Navy Strategic Plan 1320. That means 1320. It means that 2013 to 2020. So 1320. So the plan is something that already in place. So I'm currently is merely to ensure that we are able to achieve to the objective of this passage plan. So that's not new, because we've got a plan, we've got an agenda, we've got a blueprint, we've got the Hala Tuju, we call it, the passage towards the plan. So that's not new, that's already there. What is new is some of the, as we go along, there's always this concept of continuous improvement in whatever that we do, right? So continuous improvement in whatever that we do. And in my keynote address just now, there is no something that is fixed. Things change. There are drivers out there that drives changes, and I have to always anticipate, always assess, forecast these drivers, right, to ensure that we're able to understand what are those, what risk it poses to my plan, what risk it poses to the strategic plan, and therefore mitigate those risks early enough so that we are able to again meet the plan, right? So here, that's why I mentioned just now, understanding all these challenges is very, very important. So we are and understand that how these challenges translate into risk to us, and how do we mitigate this risk. So you follow that. Okay. So what's new is continually reassessing the situation, and reassessing the situation will address how do we need to move on from it. A good example, one of the key drivers is funding, right? So one of the key drivers is fund. That means the budget, basically. So obviously, with the global economic outlook, the impact on many countries, including Malaysia. So as far as Malaysia is concerned, it also impact on the defence organisation and also the Navy. So obviously, with budget cuts, right? So we need to look back, look inward, and based on that, strategize ourselves better. So in that regards, I always focus on something that is within my control. It's no point to say that I want to buy this, I want to buy that. We want to. It's difficult because it involves treasury, involves other stakeholders that I don't have control over with. So it's easy for me to focus on those within my control. For example, with the budget cut, for example, these are challenges ahead. I always look at that as opportunities. So what I mean by opportunities here, we have to improve the way of us doing business. So I improve the procurement processes, look at something in the procurement processes to make it more efficient, to make it more effective. And that's one way. Well, the other thing is that the processes ensure that we focus on fit for purpose, right? Meaning that we identify our priorities, focus on high priorities, and looking into concepts of operation that actually can bring the ownership cost as low as possible. I call it ownership cost. Traditionally, when we talk about procurement, you buy something just based on the capital, the capex, the capital expenditure. So we just look at the system, how much is it, and we look at as a cost. But I like to look at differently, not just the capex, but also the opex. That means the operational expenditure, because by identifying the operational expenditure add on to the capex, I know the life cycle cost or the ownership cost. So that in some way will help to us to identify our system that we need based on the cost drivers as well. And therefore some of the specifications may not be too high. So these are the things that within our control, adjust the requirement and bring the cost down. The other thing of cost is also by ensuring that we do things transparent, right? We do create very creative in our contract management. We develop performance-based contracting. So these are some of the new concepts of procurement. We are now exploring and adopting performance-based contracting. By performance-based contracting, since we cannot, for example, maybe buy a system, we buy services. But the performance, we put in performance based into the contract requirement. We transfer the risk to the service provider. What was before, we buy system, everything is reversed. After some time we need to change because technology changes very fast. But anticipating some of this, we use performance-based contracting. So we buy services, we set the performance level, and only pay as and when they meet the performance criteria. And by actually doing this, we also transfer the risk to them. So this one. The other thing we are looking into, that is on systems assets. On, let's say, infrastructure, we are looking at facility management contract. That means what was before, we build things, we built infrastructure buildings, and we spend a lot of time maintaining them, repairing them. Our core business is not maintaining buildings and repairing buildings. That's not our core business. So by adopting facility FM, they call it, facility management contract, that again we look at that more innovative, and it brings the cost of doing business down. Okay, so that's example of
okay. With regards to procurement, now I want to go into specific programs that have been brought forward. For example, the 6 missile surface corvettes, the MRSS ships, and the anti-submarine warfare helicopters. So these 3, for example, now I understand that there's a lot of budgetary constraints.
Exactly.
Yeah, but as a Navy
whatever
chief,
you mentioned just now, they are obviously, the wish list is long.
So which one will you be fighting? I mean, which one is your priority?
The wish list is long. So that's the fact I think I'd like to state to you. Number 2, we based on the wish list, we now have to reprioritize our requirement. So I like to also add in one of the way what we are doing that is within our control. Currently in the Royal Malaysian Navy, and you look at James yourself, we have got a huge number of classes of ships. Lots. I think if you go into it, I think it's about 10 classes of ships from different countries. So imagine the nightmare, imagine the challenges of logistics, the training, and so forth. So the ownership cost for all these huge number of classes of ships is one thing that we realize that we need to change. So one of the concept there we are adopting or we are pushing through for during my tenureship is reduce the classes of ship that we want to manage. Right? So effectively, by managing fewer classes of ships but more numbers in the class, right, you're able to bring the ownership cost tremendously down. Right. So in this regard, our priorities is focus on our PVs that we've got. Yeah. So if you remember, the NGPVs was a class of 27 some time ago. However, we recognize the fact that with the establishment of the MMA, some of the roles of the enforcement is taken over by them. Therefore, we know that we will not be expecting the 27. Yeah? So, but we hope that you will have, now we have a squadron of 6. All right. So we hope that we're able to achieve at a point in time later 3 squadron of ships, 3 squadron of 6. That means it's going to be 18. Obviously, that is something will be. We talk about affordability of the government, obviously. So that's one main class of ship, because we have already got whatever we want to do also must be in support of the local industry. There's a lot of investment that we put into the NJPV program. It is a national project, right? So we want to ensure that national project strive and sustain. Very important keyword is sustain. It has to be sustainable. So therefore, more important reason why we need to continue to have that class expanded. And so the experience I've got from the first 6, a lot of experience, can be looked at and adopted, applied on the next 6 ships, wherever we've got money, obviously. But the idea is to again bring the cost of ownership down. There are systems in there that we reckon that we may not need, but we can save a lot of cost there, for example. So that's one class. Then obviously the next class, major class that we're looking into, obviously, is LCS. Right. So that's our combatant. That's our combatant. So that's 6, and it has a program for Ugantia, So we will be ensuring that program is on track, right? Because that's going to be very this challenging program, because it's all the sophistication and also the involvement of the stakeholders and things like that. So that is the 2 main sort of classes. Then the other thing is that if you remember, we have got, I think.
So you mean the two classes are NGPV, LCS?
The NGPV and the LCS. That's the main one, And then you remember, again, I like you to refer to James, because it's all there. We've got the Fact 1, the La Combatant, the Speaker, the Laxmana class, the Vosper-Tony Croft, Fact G, and the PC. So imagine there are 5, just name there, 5 different class of patrol, strike craft. Right. These are the lower range of the corvettes. Just now it's more frigates than the corvettes. Now this is the we call it petrocraft, strike craft. So imagine the 5 there. So we hope to now look into one class to replace all these 5, because Navy is managing an aging fleet. That's the reality of life. Some of our fleet are over 40 years old. Obviously, we are very proud in the sense that we are still able to manage to operate them very effectively. But we also find that as time goes, the cost of operating these old ladies are increasing. So by identifying now one class that actually meet these 5 different classes, cluster 8, that would be a very interesting concept to approach that. So on this regard, will be more like maybe the LMV, the littoral mission vessel kind of a thing, that can do more multiple tasks by operating in the littoral environment. Right. So those are I would say 3, major classes of ships. Then other than that, obviously the next on the list is obviously to mitigate our capability gap in terms of support, right? So this is where the Ahmad MRSS or MSS will come in. So they will be one class. Yes, providing support. Well, we are looking at 2, but again, currently it's still on the wish list. We hope that will be hopefully with all the disaster and the need for us to operate in a two-theatre environment, West Malaysia and Malaysia. Hopefully that with government affordability, these two ships we hope that it can be given a special priority. So with that, it able to cover the support element. And those are, I think, we mentioned just now, from host number of 12 classes or whatever it is now reduced to now it's just maybe 4 or 5.